Hello, welcome back to the course of Gothic novel. This is al-Hilo. I'm your instructor in this course. And today we are going to talk rationally. Now let's talk logic. Let's talk about mind. Let's find some justification. Let's find out about the reasons behind the appearance of these elements of the Gothic, why these bodies appear, why these Gothic bodies appear. What is the psychological justification for the appearance of abjection, of ghosts, of satans, of demons, of gods, of those supernatural beings that we might see every day? For example, you're sitting alone at home. At once you see that a demon is sitting behind you, or there is an angel talking to you, or you feel that God is giving inspiration to you, or you feel that there is a ghost hovering around you. There are psychological reasons for the appearance of these things, of these supernatural elements and Gothic bodies. We should find out why they appear. What is the meaning of these things psychologically? We will go and find the answer in the theory proposed by Freud, which is the uncanny. The uncanny justifies and explains everything. The uncanny, it justifies the appearance of supernatural beings in Gothic fiction. They mostly rise as a form of uncanny. So, the uncanny might justify all the appearance of supernatural beings. They are the reasons why they appear. The uncanny tells you many things. So let's find out what is the uncanny. What does it mean, and why it appears, why it rises in our psychological stance. First, it is a Freudian concept. This theory was suggested by Freud in his article The Uncanny, and later thinkers developed it further. So, Freud was the first one who proposed this concept, this psychological concept, and of course he is the founding father of the modern psychoanalysis. He proposed and he gave us so many concepts in this regard. So as Gothic specialists, we should go back to Freud and later psychologists to find out the meaning of these elements, of these Gothic theories and Gothic bodies. So why it happens, why the uncanny happens, and how it appears and how it develops. It first appears and formulated in our early childhood. So the theory of the uncanny explains the aspects of early childhood experience that has to be repressed if the child is to progress to function in adulthood. Chief amongst these is the child's experience of sexual desire for the parents of the opposite sex. So, according to Freud, that the uncanny appears in our early childhood. It goes as early as those early days in our lives, those early years, the early stages of our life in childhood. In the beginning, we think that we are the center of the world, that everything belongs to us, that when we see that our mothers, she gives us everything they have. Our mothers give us whatever they have. They breastfeed us, they cherish us, they play with us, they laugh with us, they carry us, they hug us. So we believe that we are the center of the world, that the world belongs to us, that our mothers belong to us, that we are the center of everything, we are the center of the universe. That's called by Lacan the imaginary stage, the imaginary order. We are so narcissistic in that early stage of our life, and that's the beginning of the formulation of sexual desire for the parent of the opposite sex. That's the beginning of the formulation of the desire for mother by the boys and the desire of the father by the girls. So that's the beginning of the formulation of that desire, of that stance towards our parents. Next, this is the moment when our unconscious begins to sexually desire our parents. In young boys, this desire leads to a terror of castration at the hands of a jealous father. The young girl, on the other hand, perceives herself as already having been castrated, since she lacks male genitalia. A key moment in the psychological development of the child is the first perception of sexual difference, bound up, as it is for Freud, with the trauma of the Oedipal complex. First, we should know something before we dive deeper in this theory. That Freud, at the end of his career, at later stages of his career, he made a very dangerous and a very important confession. That he said, "I failed to theorize about the psychological stance of females. I cannot give further theories about their psychological stance and what they are, their true nature. That's why I expect later theorists come and complete my career and complete my theoretical framework." We have the most important psychological theorist after Freud is Lacan, Jacques Lacan, the French psychoanalyst. He also theorized about the psychological stance of females, but later he proposed one of the most challenging and enduring and most courageous theories in his career. He proposed his theory. He called it that woman does not exist. That's simple. That's courageous. That's brave. And that's simple. He said that woman does not exist. He believed that women do not have any psychological place in my theoretical framework. They do not have any independent identity. They cannot undergo any normal theoretical framework. Of course, later psychologists, they try to justify and to find excuses for Jacques Lacan and his theory, like Slavoj Žižek. He said that Slavoj Žižek said that Jacques Lacan in fact believes that there is nothing different in females than males. Females in this theory, in the theory of Jacques Lacan, woman does not exist. He believes that there are no independent theories for females. They can undergo the theories of the males as well. So there is nothing different about females. That enigmatic, independent, vague, voiceless woman does not exist. This is the true meaning of Jacques Lacan. This is how Slavoj Žižek justifies this theory. However, most of the psychological theories, they are attributed to males, especially by Freud and Lacan. So here again, the Oedipal complex and the uncanny, it mostly covers the psychological stance and situation of males. So in young boys, this desire leads to a terror of castration. When the young boys, they have that sexual desire towards their mothers, when they enter into the stage of language acquisition, that's the moment of law acquisition. That's the moment when they are exposed to laws, to norms, to traditions, to the social conditions. That's the time when they experience superego, as Freud calls it. Superego is the social traditions and norms. That's the time when they experience the laws of the father, the no of the father, as Freud calls it. That's the time that the father intrudes and comes in and tries to make the boy understand that no, your mother belongs to me. You should sleep in a separate room. Your mother does not belong to you. She is one of my possessions. That's how the father tries to make him understand how life goes on. And he he then comes, the boy, the young boy, the child, comes to understand that there is a threat of castration at the hands of the father. That's why he should find his independent place in his life. He should get separated and keep away from the mother, okay, because there is a threatening father standing away watching me, so I should be careful. The young girl, on the other hand, perceived herself as already having been castrated since she lacks male genitalia. As for the girls, according to Freud, that she already feels that complex. She already has all acquired that complex of being castrated. Of course, castration does not come, physically. No father comes really and castrate his son. But that castration is psychological. That castration is mental. It happens in the mind. That's a key moment, according to Freud. That trauma, that complex, that fear of being castrated is a key moment in the psychological development of the child. He should undergo that castration, that mental castration. Otherwise, he will not develop into maturation. He will not develop into the society, into the real society, into the world of rules and laws and traditions and norms and superego. He should experience that castration. Otherwise, he will lack normal and typical identity, social identity. So Freud calls this castration, mental castration, and this trauma and this complex as the Oedipal complex. We find this Oedipal complex in many places in literature. One of the best manifestations of this theory is Sons and Lovers by D.H. Lawrence. You can read it some other times. However, so this castration is a key moment, is very important in the psychological life of anybody. So the next step is the experience of lack. Then, for both sexes, an experience of lack is essential to identity formation. But the memory of its origin in sexual desire for a parent has to be repressed. For Freud, nothing is ever lost within the human psyche. What is repressed has the capacity to return and to rise or haunt the individual. According to Freud and even Lacan, they believe that traumas and complexes and problems, they are never forgotten. They are always kept in our memory, in the unconscious. The unconscious is the storage in which our unwanted experiences and memories are stored. They are always there, but we always try to keep them away. We always try to keep the door of that storage, closed, because once those traumas, once those complexes come into our conscious, they will disturb our identity. We will no longer be that normal, typical person. We will lose our identity, our social identity, once those traumas come into our being, come into our conscious. They will disturb our identity. So we always try to keep those traumatic memories, those complexes hidden in that storage. But from time to time, those traumas, those complexes burst out of that storage. They can open the door, break the door, and comes and pour out of that storage and disturb our identity and haunt the individual. That's the moment when problems begin. Then the return of the repressed memory, that repressed trauma and complex. When that repressed memory comes back and return, that's the key source for the uncanny. That's the moment when the uncanny is created. When that repressed memory intrudes into our familiar world, into our conscious memory, it will disturb our identity, and it will threaten our social identity. So this uncanny, the return of the repressed memory, it appears in the shape, in the form of some Gothic bodies. For example, when we see a ghost, when we see a demon, when we see, for example, a zombie, we imagine seeing something moving on in the mirror. When we see our image is moving in the mirror while we are still keeping stable, we're not moving, but our image is moving in the mirror. That's when our repressed memories come into our mind, come into our conscious mind, our conscious memory. That's the time when we see angels, when we see Satans, when we see demons. It is the time when our complex memories come into our mind. They appear in the form of some unwanted Gothic bodies. So that's the meaning of Gothic bodies. That's the meaning of those Gothic elements that we see in our everyday life. We always, most of you might have experienced hearing something that doesn't exist, or seeing something that doesn't really exist. It doesn't, of course, it does not exist, but it is the pouring out of repressed memories. They appear in this shape. That's why do not be afraid. You can, when you see a ghost, when you see a demon in front of you, you're standing alone in the room, you just go and hug that demon. You just go and hug that ghost, okay? Because it does not really exist. It is only a manifestation of your repressed memory, which is there, out there in your room, or when you see a dead body sleeping next to you on your bed. Okay, just go and hug that body, that dead body, because it does not really exist. It is only the pouring out, the bursting out of those complexes, of those bad memories, okay? You just hug those memories, hug those Gothic elements, those demons or angels, and that they will vanish. Because once you are exposed to those memories, once you are exposed, once you face those elements, those memories which are manifested in different Gothic bodies like demons, once you confront them, once you hug them, once you expose yourself to your fears, to your repressed memories, they will just simply vanish. That's the key moment when you get psychologically healed. That's the secret for getting better from your psychological side. You just jump into your fears, you just jump directly into your traumas and complexes. Try to face them, try to hug them and confront them. That's the only moment when they disappear. That's the only moment when they vanish. So the uncanny then is that which arouses dread and creeping horror, which leads us back to something long known to us, once very familiar. The uncanny is the appearance of something familiar in unfamiliar situations. It's the appearance of some ghosts in familiar situations, sorry. When some unfamiliar things, bodies appear in familiar places. For example, the uncanny means when you are sitting in your living room watching TV and then you see the ghost of a loved one who has passed away some times ago. That's the uncanny. When you see something you know very well, but it is not as it was, like the abjection, for example, the ghost of someone. For example, the ghost of Hamlet, King Hamlet, when it appears, that's the uncanny to Hamlet himself, the son. So this is the uncanny in a nutshell. So please go and find out more about the uncanny. You will find uncanny in almost all Gothic movies, in almost all Gothic fiction and novels. So it's a very interesting concept, and the uncanny then justifies everything that appears in Gothic fiction and Gothic movies. So you can investigate more and spend more time on watching these movies and highlight those uncanny moments. So thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for further Gothic theories and concepts. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.